Joining us now, though, to run all this now for us and what's going on with the Republican Party of Virginia and what's going on with the convention and everything is the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, Jack Wilson. Jack, great to have you with us, man.
Thanks, John. Great to be with you, and congratulations on the expanding radio stations. Good job.
Thanks, Jack. Tell us, as far as the Republican Party is concerned, the Democratic Party of Virginia just had their convention. It was a Zoom, I guess, virtual convention. Ben Tribbett, by the way, went ape crap crazy over it, said there was all kinds of bad voting, corruption, etc. He's going to be on after you at 8:35 to tell us about that. When are we going to have a Republican convention? What's the deal now?
Well, basically where we are, the State Central Committee is going to meet this coming Saturday to make a decision on how we're going to conduct our business. I had formed a committee a few weeks ago to look at the various options and to make a report and a recommendation to State Central. That information will be going to all the members today, and we'll make a decision on Saturday how we're going to proceed. But clearly, we've got various options from a traditional convention, if we can get that done safely and legally, to, as you say, a virtual convention and possibilities in between. So we'll know on Saturday exactly what we're going to do and when we're going to do it.
Jack, the meeting on Saturday, is it going to be a real meeting, or is it one of these internet meetings?
It'll be a Zoom meeting, but it'll also be streamed on Facebook Live. So the Zoom meeting itself will be limited to the members, but anybody who wants to watch can join us from the RPV Facebook page.
So they're going to make a recommendation, right? But it's not final. Then who's going to make the final decision?
The State Central Committee will make the final decision on Saturday. The committee will make a report and a recommendation exploring all the various options that they examined, put it before the State Central Committee, and the State Central Committee will make a decision. You're
running for re-election. It's a tough road to hoe right now, but I got to tell you, Rich Anderson's been on my show the last 3 times. I like Rich, but I got to be honest, he didn't say anything. I asked him to weigh in on the shenanigans that went on in the 5th District 3 times. He wouldn't do it. Jack, when are we going to stop this stuff? I mean, the corruption in the 5th District, when are we going to have an adult in the room? Because, Jack, as long as we keep having these conventions that, paid people make decisions and they get rigged and there's one voting location 15 minutes from some guy's house, I mean, you're never going to grow the party. But I can't get anybody to lead and step up. They're all scared of, I don't know, Bonnie and Clyde.
Well,
what's the deal here?
I'll tell you, John, I have long been a proponent of primaries to nominate our candidates. I have real concerns about conventions, especially when they're so small and insular that they really exclude a broad spectrum of the Republican Party. And so that's what you get in conventions. You get 1,200, 2,000 people nominating a candidate. And even if they're run fairly and above board, it just limits the opportunities for Republicans to have a voice in who their nominees are. So given all the issues we've had this year with conventions, I would hope that we would focus and do primaries and going forward.
You want a pathway, Jack, to victory?
That'll get me. I'm sure some folks upset with me.
Jack, you want me to give you right on the air a pathway to victory?
Sure.
Let me just give it to you, okay? Be the one who says, you elect me chairman, I will change the rules, and I will outlaw conventions for federal or state offices. You want to do a convention for council, you want to do one for sheriff, you want to do one for, obviously, you got your delegates of the National Convention and State Central and chairman, have at it. But until somebody steps up, win or lose, and has the chutzpah to say, these have destroyed the party. It has taken the soul out of him, cut the heart out, and we're down to nothing but corruption. And we went through 2 of them, Jack. We went through the one with Chris Peace and Scott Wyatt, and I guess that was in 97th, the House District, and I applauded and lauded your leadership there in trying to stop it. You were unsuccessful. Peace got kicked out. Now we have the same thing in the 5th with Denver Riggleman. I mean, people are sick of these things. There's a handful of people that want these conventions because they make money off them. They can control it, keep it small, control it all. And if we get somebody running for chairman who just says, I'm done with them, and you elect me, and I will work tirelessly to stop them out, that's a pathway to victory, because there's I bet you there's 50% plus one of those delegates that know deep down these things are destroying us, Jack.
Well, and I agree. I think the convention process is just not working for our party. It creates friction and divisiveness after the process is over because very few people get to participate. It is a very controlled environment, and I just think we need to do a much better job of nominating our candidates by going through a primary process. And you're right, whether it's the state offices and above. Frankly, I think that I would not be surprised if the General Assembly doesn't take some action on that this coming session. I think even the Democrats are starting to see some problems even within their own party on this convention process. So we may have the Democrats solve our problem for us by requiring primaries for state and higher offices.
All right, let's get to some of the outcomes this past weekend. I know we've nominated now candidates for Congress. The big one was in the 10th. We also nominated a new chairman of the 10th district. Can you give us the rundown on that, Jack Wilson?
Sure. Yeah, we the 10th we had a great congressional race up there, and ultimately through the process, Alicia Andrews is our nominee, so she will be ready to take on Jennifer Wexton. I mean, Alicia's got a wonderful resume, strong on security issues, former Marine, great candidate, a lot of enthusiasm. You could see it on Saturday. I was up there for the 10th for most of that day, and clearly she's got a great following, and I think she's going to be a great nominee to take on Jennifer Wexton in the 10th. We also, up in Northern Virginia a couple weeks ago, had nominated Jeff Jordan. He's going to take on Don Beyer. And then we've got an exciting candidate up there in the 11th, Manga Anantatmala. She is going to take on Jerry Connolly. So we're going to have congressional candidates in every congressional district this year. Obviously, we'll have primaries tomorrow to select the second and the third congressional district nominees. And then the big one will be on July 18th when we round out our team with the nominee in the 7th. So I'm excited about the candidates we're putting forward against these Democrats. And frankly, with the president at the top of the ticket and a strong United States Senate candidate taking on Mark Warner, I'm really enthusiastic about our chances in November to pick up some of these congressional seats. I think the president's got a lot of coattails in Virginia. You compare the president's leadership versus Governor Northam and Mayor Stoney and others, the Democrat leadership, it's a clear contrast, and I think people are fed up with the Democrats.
Well, Scott Taylor is going to win on Tuesday night. He is going to be the nominee. That's my prediction. Daniel Gate is going to be the nominee. I think Madison Downs wins in the 3rd. So you're going to go on from there, Jack. But tell us about the district convention in the 7th. I've heard that might be changing. The chairman, I understand, has put forth a plan that it'll be an in-person convention, but if you don't want to go inside, you can vote outside, and they're going to change it from what has historically been majority, like you got to get 50% plus one, to plurality on the first ballot. Can you give us some insight on that, Jack?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if all the final details have been ironed out, but I think the recognition is trying to do a traditional convention with that many delegates would probably violate even the Phase 3 reopening plans in Virginia. And so I suspect they'll do some version of an unassembled convention similar to what's been done in the other districts. Come up, you vote, and you leave, maintaining distancing, et cetera. I'm not sure yet if the decision has been made as to whether they're going to do a plurality ballot, one ballot and whoever gets the most wins, or whether they'll do what was done, for example, in the 10th congressional district on Saturday, which is a ranked choice ballot where you sort of rank your candidates. That ultimately results in a majority nominee. It's as close to the approximation of a convention process as we can get without having anybody sit in the same auditorium for several hours.
The decision on ranked voting or 50% plus one or plurality, when will that decision be made, Jack?
I'm not sure when the 7th District is going to finalize that decision. I know at least I anecdotally had heard that they were doing some of the exploration of ranked choice balloting, seeing how the 10th Congressional District handled it. So I'm hopeful that they'll make that decision fairly soon so that the candidates will know exactly what the process is going to be heading into the July 18th convention there.
the Republican convention, you don't know when that's going to happen, but we've got a nominating convention for the president coming up at the end of August. When are all of the delegates going to be finalized? Those Republican delegates to the National Convention in Virginia, when is all that going to get finalized, Jack?
The last ones will get elected at the 7th Congressional District Convention on July 18th. And so that will be the final set. That'll be the final deadline to get our delegates in. We will then certify them all by the RNC deadline of July the 20th. So
what about those that come from the state at large?
We were actually underfiled for all the delegates there, so at some point I believe the proposal will be that, and again consistent with the RNC rules, that the State Central Committee may fill out the rest of the alternates on that ticket.
Okay, so those that filed to be a delegate state at large, they had no opposition, so they're automatically in, and then State Central people will fill in as the alternates.
Fill up the alternates, exactly.
Okay, got it. So then there's got to be a meeting of all the delegates to elect the delegation chairman. When will that happen?
That'll happen shortly after July 20th, once all the delegates are certified to the RNC. We'll have that meeting of the delegates, and it's perhaps more important this year than it has been in past years, because under the RNC adopted rules, only 6 delegates from each state will be going to Charlotte to do the actual vote, and that'll be the state party chair, the 2 committee man, committee woman, whoever's elected the delegation chair, and whoever's elected to the two members to the credentials committee. So those will be the 6 that will go to Charlotte to do the actual official nomination of the president and the vice president. Everybody else will go to Jacksonville for the celebration.
Now, will that meeting be in person, or will that be one of these virtual meetings?
My understanding, at this point anyway, is the meeting in Charlotte would be in person.
The meeting to elect the delegation chairman.
Not sure yet. I mean, again, my preference would be that we would get the delegation together someplace to do that.
Yeah,
but
you can do. I mean, it's only 50 people, so you can do social distancing. So I'm definitely going to be running for delegation chairman. I hope to have your vote.
Well, hopefully I'm around at that point, right?
Last time I got beat by Ken. Ken Cuccinelli beat me last time by 2 votes. He's not involved. Remember, he turned around, he was sneering at everybody that was voting for me when they had their hand up. So it took a lot of courage for those people. He only beat me by 2 votes, but he was like sneering at people that were voting for me. It was kind of nasty. But now he's in the administration. We're all friends. It's all good, Jack. One big kumbaya. Bang the drum. It's all good.
We're
all get together. And all friends.
We're going to bring the party together. We're going to be unified, and we're going to win Virginia for the president. And it'll start with the big celebration in Jacksonville when we kick off the fall campaign.
All right. Sounds like I've got Jack Wilson's vote for delegation chairman, and I'll be sure and call for an open ballot so you can raise your hand. And if you don't, I'll sneer at you the way Cuccinelli did. How about that?
Fair enough.
That worked, Jack? All right. So, look, Jack, when are you going to hire an executive director?
Well, the plan is, to do a nationwide search to bring the best executive director we can to the party. But until this chairman's race is finalized and I'm reelected as chair, it's really hard to recruit somebody to come in knowing that the person serves at the pleasure of the chair. So while I'm confident I'm going to win re-election, I'm not so sure somebody from the Midwest wants to move to Richmond on the chance that I might lose. So we're going to get that position filled quickly after the chairman's race is settled.
All right, so you're going to wait till after the chairman's race to then fill the position of executive director. But you don't have the chairman's race until you have a convention, and we're going into the fall, and we're going to have a bunch of nominees. And so right now, things are in flux.
Well, we've got a political director on board right now who is coordinating closely with the unit chairs and getting the new unit chairs up to speed, working with the new State Central Committee members, and the most important thing is coordinating with the Trump Victory folks here in Virginia. So while it'd be nice to have an executive director on board now, I don't think we're really that harmed by waiting until we get the right one in after the chairman's race is settled.
John Fredericks Radio Network. We're with Jack Wilson. Jack is the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. Jack, what do you have to do in the fall to have the state be competitive for Trump?
Well, what we're doing already, which is starting the process of, we've been aggressively registering voters. Obviously, when everybody had to hunker down, shelter at home, the Trump victory folks pivoted immediately into telephone banking and reaching out to hundreds of thousands of voters. And so basically what we're going to do in the fall is just energize those people, energize those who've come to the party through the Second Amendment movement, energize those who are just now seeing perhaps for the first time how failed leadership works when you got Democrats in control. So we're just going to try to ride that enthusiasm for some of those issues that will carry the president to the top here in Virginia. He's got a great reservoir of support. I see it when I talk to people, when I've been at these various district conventions. You can feel the enthusiasm for November. So we're just going to continue to do what we're doing, which is unify the party and unify the party around the reelection of the president.
What's your message to those Republicans that really think we need a change? Rich Anderson is running against you, former House of Delegates member, got another gentleman from the Northern Neck, I believe, but Anderson has come on my show. Both of us have been very critical of your leadership because we haven't gotten a lot done. We haven't raised any money. Why should you win a second term, Jack?
Well, first of all, I haven't even had a full first term. You know, you recall I stepped in when the previous chairman stepped down. So, you know, it's a 4-year term, and I haven't even been in yet 2 years. And so it takes some time to get an understanding of how the party operates, where the fundraising opportunities are, how the party plan works, how the state central committee works. And so, frankly, I've got that experience now to be able to lead this party as we head into November. And I think the most important thing is for this party heading into November is to have a chairman who has been a long-time vocal supporter of the president. And that is key to energizing our grassroots activists and the Trump voters that have not yet joined the Republican Party in Virginia. They need to see that the party supports the president, and clearly I do that. And so I think this is a critical election in Virginia and the nation this November, and frankly, now's not the time to try to switch up leadership and perhaps put somebody in that doesn't know how the party works, much less how the president's campaign will work.
How are you going to raise money?
We're doing it. I mean, we're raising now online. We're raising money. We're doing some small dollar things. Clearly, the change in the conventions has cut us some in fundraising, but we've got fundraising opportunities out there surrounding the national convention. We're bringing in some honorary delegates who are going to be allowed to go to Jacksonville. They'll be paying a fee, but also contributing to the party. So we've got a number of opportunities to raise money as people start becoming more comfortable with the state of the economy and their own house economies.
Jack Wilson, thanks for being with us. We appreciate your time. Jack is the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, the one that I make fun of all the time. He is running for re-election. A couple other people in the race, Rich Anderson being one of them. We don't know when the convention is. I guess we'll find out pretty soon. But, Jack, thank you for your time, man. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, John. Yep.